Hello students, this is the part 2 of the chapter The Living World. In part 1 we learned about growth, about respiration and about excretion. These three things are the characteristics of living things. Another characteristic of living thing is responsiveness to stimuli and movement. Now we can move from one place to the other place. But if you have a table or a chair which is a non-living thing, it cannot move on its own. So living things can move from one place to the other. Next is the responsiveness to stimuli. So all the living things respond to the activity that occur in our surrounding, and this ability to respond to the stimuli is called as what? Responsiveness to stimuli. For example, someone pinches you. What you will do? You will automatically pull your hand behind, right? So that is nothing but responsiveness. If you touch a hot object, then automatically what you will do is you will pull your hand behind because of the heat you have felt. So that is nothing but the responsiveness because of the stimuli that is there. So that is why this response that we give, that is called as the responsiveness to stimuli. Now living things, they have the responsiveness to stimuli. And now in us, that is in humans and animals, that we can respond accordingly, but in plants also there is responsiveness to stimuli. For example, if you see a mimosa plant and if you will touch that plant, the leaves automatically closes. So that is nothing but the responsiveness to stimuli. And in plants also the movement is there. So if you will see a plant moves towards the sun, wherever the sun is there, it will start to grow towards it. So this is called as the movement in plants, and together it is the responsiveness to stimuli is also there in living organisms, and also movement is there in living organisms. So these are the two characteristics which living organisms have. Another characteristic of living thing is reproduction. Now reproduction is nothing but giving rise, or you can say producing a new organism of its own kind. That is giving birth to the organism of its own kind. For example, a dog will give birth to a puppy. Okay, and then that puppy will grow to become a dog. So that means the living organism can produce organisms of own kind only. This is called as reproduction. And in the process of reproduction, the living things which are there, it will give rise to the young one of its own kind. Now sometimes some animals give birth to their young ones, but some animals, they lay egg. For example, if you will say birds, so they lay egg. So from the egg, then the young ones hatch out. So this is the reproduction in birds or the animals which lay egg. Now what happens in plants? So in plants, they reproduce through seed or through plants or the different parts of the plant. For example, the stem or the leaf. If you see the leaf of a bryophyllum, so there you can find small uh, leaves. They start to grow, a bud is formed, and then a leaf starts to grow from the leaf margin. So this is how which happens in bryophyllum. So in the same way, even nodes is there. If you say sugarcane, so they have nodes from which a new bud can grow. So this is called as the reproduction in plants. Another very important characteristic of living organism is that we have a definite lifespan. Every living thing has a fixed lifespan. Life comes to an end with death, when the organism becomes weak and then it dies. So even it happens in plants as well as in animals. Now if you will see, so every plant and animals, they have different lifespan. So for example, if we will talk about dog, so dog survives from 12 to 18 years. Ostrich survives for 50 years. If you will see a giant turtle, you will see that it survives for 170 years. So the lifespan depends on organism to organism. Even if we see the example of a mayfly, so the lifespan of mayfly ranges from around 1 hour to 24 hours. So some animals survive for very less period of time, or you can say very short period of time, but some organisms, they survive for very long period of time. For example, the giant turtle, which is found in Galapagos Island. So such organisms, they survive for a long time. So the lifespan, we can say, it depends on species to species of the organisms which are present in that species. Another important characteristic of living organism is the cellular structure. Our body is made up of cells. Now, if you will observe a honeycomb, or if you will observe a brick wall, so in the honeycomb, it is formed of small cells which are attached together. And the wall which is there, it is made up of brick which are firmly joined together. So our cells somewhat look alike to a brick wall or a honeycomb. They are also joined together, attached together, and there are millions of cells which are present in our body. Each part of our body is made up of cells. It is the building block of the body. So all living organisms are made up of cells. Now these organisms can be of two types, either unicellular organisms or it can be multicellular organisms. Now what do you mean by unicellular organisms? Unicellular means they are made up of only one cell. So for example, if you will see amoeba, amoeba is made up of only one cell. Paramecium is made up of only one cell. These organisms are made up of only one cell and they are called as what? Unicellular organism. Next is multicellular organism. That means they are made up of more than one cell. So that is why they are called as multicellular organism. For example, if you see tree, banyan tree, coconut tree, mango tree, all these things, any plant is there which is made up of more than one cell. That is why it is called as multicellular living thing. Then we have many animals like horse, we have cockroach, we have snail. All of these animals, even humans, we all are made up of many cells. So that is why we are multicellular organism. Children, all the characteristics that we saw, these characteristics are present in living organisms. Now there are n number and crores of species of living organisms which are present. Millions of species of living organisms are there which is present on the earth. But all of these living organisms are not useful. There are useful living organisms and there are harmful living organisms. Let us first talk about useful living organisms. So we get food from plants. So some plants can be useful plants, and these plants, for example, we get fruit, vegetables, grain, we get leafy vegetables, we get various other things from the plant which are useful to us, which we can utilize in making our life better. So these things are called as the useful plants. Now some plants are also used for medicinal purposes like asparagus, neem, we have tulsi. All of these are used as medicinal purpose. They have a very high role in medicine. So that is why these plants are called as the useful plant, as we can use them for our benefit. Now there can be useful animals also. So we can domesticate those animals, like we have cow, buffalo, we can domesticate them. Then there are some pets which we can have, for example, dogs and cats. We also have animals like horse, oxen, all these camels we have, all these animals are useful to us for transport. We even use fish, sheep, goats for our food. So all these organisms, they are useful to us, and that is why they are called as useful animals. Even earthworm is useful, as it plays a very important role for farmers. It burrows inside the soil, and that is why the soil loosens up, and so earthworms are very useful to the farmers. So in this way we have useful plants and we have useful animals. Next is the harmful living things. Now these harmful living things, though they are harmful to human beings, but they play a very important role in the ecosystem. So you should not consider them that they should not be there on the earth. They are some of the other role in the ecosystem. So let us talk about the harmful living things. Now some plants and animals are harmful to the human beings. If we'll talk about the harmful plants, so there are weeds which are there, the uncontrolled growth of weeds which even destroy the plants which the farmers grow. Then we have pods of nettle. If you touch those pods, then it will lead to itching. And then there are various plants with strong odor like oleander and lantana. If by chance you smell them, you will get headache. Then we have the algae growth. If you will see on the uh, ponds, the top layer which is there, it becomes greenish in color. That is nothing but the uncontrolled growth of algae, and these algae, they destroy the aquatic life which is there inside, so they are again harmful. Then we have harmful animals. So mosquitoes and flies, they spread disease, so they are harmful to human beings. Lice which is there, they causes skin disease, so again they are harmful to human beings. Cockroaches, mice, rats, they destroy the food, even they spread some disease, so that is why they are again harmful to human beings. Then there are poisonous snakes which can even cause death of the living organism or the animal. So these animals are called as harmful living organisms. Next are the wild animals. Now, wild animals that hunt other animals for feeding, they are called as predators. As they hunt, they survive on other animals. So, for example, tigers, lions, wolf, all of these are wild animals. Now, one thing is that the number of wild animals, they are decreasing because of deforestation or hunting of the wild animals. So that is why these wild animals are decreasing day by day because of the human and animal conflict. Not only animals, even plants are also destroyed by the humans. So plants and animals are our natural resource, and we should always preserve and conserve these plants and animals.